It's just building these ecosystems. It's very important to look at it holistically and not in silos.
Yeah, I think one of the questions again was around CSI, or according to the codes, more recently socioeconomic development as well. There's an opportunity to take advantage of the massive spend per Clayton's comment around how much the big, large corporates, the listed companies, are spending on corporate social responsibility types of projects. So there's a clear trend at the top, which is fantastic. But to your point, we've got to shift away from the short-termism, where we're kind of just running every little project. There's a skills project here, there's an enterprise development project there, supply development, but they're all discrete short-term projects. I think what you're alluding to is, how do we drive it as a program? How do we get integration, line of sight, start to introduce sustainability and integrate the different components?
100%. So previously it was known as CSI, Corporate Social Investment. It's now known as Socioeconomic Development. And what classifies a project as a socioeconomic development that a company can spend on? And so the contributions must be made to Black individuals. Black under BEE terms is classified as African, colored, and Indian. It's also Chinese, as long as they were within the country before 1994. It's also, and when you're looking at socioeconomic development, you know, so again, unfortunately, we live in South Africa, and there's always these pockets of people just trying to grab, you know, for their own benefit. And so for socioeconomic development, companies really need to start looking at, if they are putting money towards SED, what is the impact that that project is going to have on the beneficiaries, number one, or the community at large? Because at the end of the day, it's socioeconomic development, which means that you want to improve the lives of the underprivileged South Africans in an impactful way. You also want to promote transformation, diversity, and include Black people within various industries. But to ensure that you really are not just throwing money at something, and, you know, I'm going to touch on something that might be very offensive to some people, but I've come across businesses who have been for years just giving 20,000, 30,000 to an orphanage. And yes, the orphanages do need that, but how true is that transformation? How true, you know, what is the impact by just giving the money to that orphanage? Why don't you take a step further and say, you know, sit down with the orphanage and find out that what are your operational expenses? How can we assist you? If you have an orphanage, what ages are your kids starting from and ranging from? So if you have kids in an orphanage that are ranging from 6 months old right up to matriculants, and I know a number of these types of orphanages, then why don't you as the business say, we'll continue funding you, but we would actually like to put programs in place where we bring early childhood development in. And you know, I had a discussion last month with Cotlands. Cotlands has a toy library, which not most people out there don't know what toy libraries are. And they develop ECD practitioners, the early childhood development practitioners. And you can go out and you can spend on a program with Cotlands that is accredited for early childhood development. There you tick the points off for your skills development because it's accredited training provider. You then can tick the points under enterprise development by giving them funding towards perhaps providing meals for these kids that are at the orphanage. You can then also take a step further and say, okay, so as my organization, I need to actually spend on bursaries. What are your kids that are now matriculating at this orphanage? What is the next step for them? You know, let's better their lives and then say, well, the kids that are at the orphanage who do make it past matric, let's offer them a bursary. And by that, you know, you're actually uplifting these kids and you're giving them an opportunity in life. And that is what socioeconomic development is all about. It is not just about throwing money at what you think is going to solve the problem. It won't solve the problem unless you get involved. And again, it's the mind shift. It's the mind shift that has to take place there.
Yeah, I think mind shift is so important. I'm conscious of our time and we've got a bit more to cover. You know, the opportunity for us, I think, as practitioners again, in the industry serving the corporate and the beneficiaries, is to find the best practices, find things that work, and find ways of scaling that. So the large corporates do a good job. How do we learn from them and apply it to the next level? Should we move to the next stage. And again, just conscious of a little bit of time from our side. But again, from a financial perspective, a significant amount of money is available in the system.
Exactly. And 5 points are available for, spending on socioeconomic development.